Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to LegalBiz Cafe. I am your host, attorney Shaune B. Arnold, and tonight we are going to fight for your dreams. We are going to implement the power of never giving up. You know, that is the name of a book that I wrote. I co-authored it with master motivational speaker, Mr. Les Brown, Fight for Your Dreams, The Power of Never Giving Up. That book actually went to #1 in 6 categories on Amazon. It is a #1 Amazon best-selling book. As far as I'm concerned, we reached #1 because the book was written with Les Brown. But as I build my business and as I interact with entrepreneurs and other people, I see that this book actually fulfills a purpose, a huge purpose. If you want to grab a copy of it, you can find it at mindmasteryaccelerator.com. I see that people are afraid. They're very frightened. The shocking self-unalive rates have been out of control for years. The Center for Disease Control reported very recently that middle-aged people in the United States are doing this at alarming rates, that the rate for baby boomers has increased by 30%. This drastic and permanent solution to temporary problems has surpassed the rate of fatal car accidents. It's not just soldiers returning from war. These are professionals, everyday Americans. These are, in large part, people that have not reconnected after the pandemic and the prior economic downturn of 2008. Lots of people simply have never recovered their former glory, and they are giving up the fight. They don't see any hope. They don't see any help. They've absolutely given up. They are no longer looking for the future. So this is what I want to talk to you about tonight. I want to talk to you about dealing with the fear that can envelop you during times like this, when you're trying to build a business and things are just not working out as you think they should. I looked for some special materials today that I could use to really talk to you about the subject because it's so important. And I actually came across some really wonderful information in one of Deepak Chopra's books. And this is called The Spontaneous Fulfillment of Desire. This is an amazing book that talks about how to plug yourself into the universe and avail yourself of the universal knowledge and experience, and how to manifest the things that you want in your life. The thing that I found so fascinating about this particular book, and that I think will help us when we're dealing with fear, is Deepak talked about rhythms. He says that as the earth spins on its axis, it gives us something called a circadian or a daily rhythm. And he makes a parallel between the rhythm that you find in the universe, like that among the planets, and the rhythm in our tides from our moon. You can also find that rhythm in our bodies, in our sleep patterns. Deepak says for some of us, our body can actually anticipate the sunrise. For some of us, our bodies actually slow down in the evening. Each of our cells in our body is able to carry on a million different activities because the body as a whole conducts itself in rhythms. It's able to do so, even though we may be consciously unaware of it. For example, our circadian rhythm is impacted by the effects of the moon's lunar rhythm as it waxes and wanes, and by the effects of the sun as it moves within the galaxy, swirling around the black hole at its center. These are all rhythms. They're all rhythms within rhythms within rhythms. Deepak tells us these drum beats, these rhythms echo all around us, and they echo within us. Deepak lets us know that we are part of the God-conscious universe. We are not outsiders to this process. That's so important. When we realize that we are not outsiders to the process, that resolves a lot of fear. We know we are part of the process. We are, as part of that process, throbbing to the pulse of the universe. Non-local intelligence is within us, Deepak says, and it's also all around us. Everything, he says, is spirit. And this, the throbbing pulse,
is the grounding of our being. It's dimensionless. It has no volume, it has no energy, it has no mass, and it occupies no space, nor does it continue to exist in time. These rhythms are localized, and all experiences within these rhythms are localized projections of this non-local reality. The fact is, we are localized projection of the God intelligence. This is why if we are feeling fear, then we are not properly aligned with the God intelligence. Where God exists, fear cannot exist. Meditate twice daily and realign your core with source energy to eradicate fear.
By realigning yourself, you plug into and avail yourself of the abundance that is this universe. Believe that you emanate from source. As a result, like the front lawn, there are areas of the grass that are bare, but the front yard is not bare. You may experience loss, grief, and separation, but that is not the essence of who you are. That is not the essence of your presence, and it is certainly not the essence of your future.
Deepak shows us that everything is inseparably one. This is a deeper level of reality. You are this non-local intelligence. You are part of a universal being that is literally observing itself through a human experience. And so if you find yourself frightened, if you find that things are just not going the way they should, then I encourage you to reach out to people who embody the spirit that you need to hold on to.
I read a story today about a Spelman student who was homeless during most of her high school years, and yet she still earned a full scholarship to Spelman, earning a 4.466 GPA during her homelessness.
She took college classes while she was homeless. She did well enough while she was homeless to gain admission to Spelman on a full scholarship, and she's going to college this fall, starting off as a junior. Now, how did she do that? Well, she says that she did it by telling herself to just keep working because her future would not be like her past. She says you may be worried about your home life and work, and you may even worry about being hungry. She says sometimes you just have to deal with what is. You eat what you can when you can. What I want you to get from her story is the fact that she didn't internalize what was going on in her world. Despite her obstacles, she had hope. What we really need to do is keep hope alive no matter what.
If you find that you are in a mind space where you can't see out, you can't see up, my first suggestion to you is that you just breathe. Just breathe in and out. You may even wonder how you manage to keep breathing in the midst of all this pain, in the midst of all that's going wrong. But you have to. You have to keep breathing in and out, and then use that breath to connect yourself to your source. Sometimes that immediate resource can be a person you know and that knows and loves you. Sometimes your healing may come from a doctor. There is never shame in seeking the help you need. Fighting for your dream is not always going to result in spontaneous magic. Sometimes we have to do the work, and we have to grit our teeth, and we have to think of the small successes we've had in the past when we hurt in the present. When you feel as though there is no hope, think of something that you did right. Think of something that went correctly. Then think of something else. Build on those successes. Bring yourself back to the full memory of when you were powerful, when you were great, and when things were going well. What did you see? What did you hear? What did you feel?
Connecting with your greatness in this way will give you hope in the present moment and hope for the future. When you have hope for your future, you have power in the present. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for joining me this week on LegalBiz Cafe, and I look forward to talking to you next week as well. Follow me on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter X. My moniker in all of those places is Shaune.Arnold. I am attorney Shaune Arnold, as always, reminding you to maximize your competence to get the confidence you need to succeed. I'll see you next week on LegalBiz Cafe. Bye-bye, friends.